We all feel it, don't we? That kind of pull to live a life with, well, fewer regrets, to
Hmm.
somehow get that wisdom that seems to take decades to build up. We try things, New Year's resolutions, quick tips maybe,
Yeah, right.
but often the advice feels a bit, I don't know, hollow, disconnected from real life.
Hmm.
How do you actually build a life you could look back on and feel, good about?
That's the big question, isn't it? And I think the best insights often come from, well, from people who've actually lived it, lived through the whole messy, complicated, amazing thing.
Yeah.
Imagine if you could just tap into the wisdom of hundreds of people who've done exactly that.
That is exactly what this deep dive is about today. We're looking into the Legacy Project. It's this incredible thing where they gathered life lessons from, I think, over 1,200, maybe even 1,500 elders across America.
Yeah, it's a huge number. People in their 70s, 80s, 90s, even older.
Now they're sharing what they learned. So we're going to try and cut through all the noise and really pull out their biggest insights on avoiding regret and living well. Think of it like a shortcut to wisdom, maybe.
A wisdom shortcut, I like that. And what's really striking is how much agreement you find. Their lives are all different, of course, but certain truths just keep popping up.
Right.
And these aren't just theories, they're hard-won conclusions from, decades of experience.
Okay, let's get into it. Their biggest lessons. And maybe start with the one that was apparently the most surprising regret. What was that?
Yeah, it wasn't what you might expect, like a bad investment or, I don't know, a career path not taken. The thing that came up most often, overwhelmingly, was wishing they hadn't worried so much.
Worrying.
Yes, the consensus was basically worry wastes your life.
Wow, worry wastes your life. That's pretty direct,
Yeah,
especially coming from people who've seen so much.
it is.
I've heard some good ways to think about that, like worry is interest on problems you do not have yet.
That's a good one.
Or my favorite, worry is like sitting in a rocking chair.
Ah.
It doesn't accomplish a damn thing. It just gives you something to do.
Huh. That nails it. The elders really looked back at all the time, the energy they spent fretting, often about things that never even happened or things they had zero control over anyway.
Right.
And they saw how it just poisoned the present moment, strained relationships, even affected their health.
So it's not just useless, it actually makes things worse. It takes away from your quality of life.
Exactly. They talked about the flip side, too, the peace they found later when they learned to let it go, how relationships improved, especially with their kids, because they could be more present, less anxious.
That makes total sense. If your head's full of what ifs, you're not really there. I read about a sort of quick check someone suggested based on this.
Mm-hmm.
Just ask yourself, will this matter in 6 months?
Mm-hmm.
As a way to, gauge if the worry is worth the headspace.
It's a simple filter, but yeah, incredibly useful for perspective. Forces you to look beyond the immediate stress.
Okay, so less worry. But speaking of looking back, we often talk about trying to live a life with no regrets. Is that even realistic, according to these elders?
They were pretty clear on that one. Nope. A totally regret-free life. That's not really how it works. Life means making choices. Often without all the info, some choices won't be perfect.
Right.
Their wisdom isn't about avoiding mistakes, it's about how you deal with them afterwards. The message is basically, go easy on yourself.
Go easy on yourself. That feels kind of radical, actually. We're always pushed to optimize everything, aren't we?
We are, but this is about self-acceptance. Alice, she was 85, she put it really nicely. She said, what I have learned is that you can't change what's happened in the past. You have to accept yourself, warts and all.
Warts and all. I like that.
It's about recognizing we're human, we make imperfect choices, that's okay.
And didn't she have that great analogy about shoes?
Oh, yes. That was brilliant. She said, once a decision is made, you don't get anywhere by looking back and second-guessing it. If you've bought a pair of shoes, don't look at the shoes in the next store window.
Huh. I love that visual. You got the shoes. Maybe they're not the perfect pair somewhere else, but these are the ones you have. Put them on, keep walking. Don't torture yourself looking at other shoes.
Exactly. It's about putting your energy into moving forward, not endlessly replaying the past.
Okay, that's powerful. Let's shift gears to something that takes up so much of our lives. Work. Career. What did the elders say about avoiding regrets there?
They had a very simple, direct test for your job. Just ask yourself, are you glad to get up in the morning?
Oof. That cuts right to the core, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How you actually feel about starting your workday.
It really does. And Albert, he was 80. He had this stark warning about it. He said, it's a long day if you don't like what you're doing. You better get another job because there's no harsher penalty than to wake up and go to work at a job you don't like.
Wow. No harsher penalty.
Think about doing that for 40, 50 years. That feeling day after day. That's a setup for some serious long-term regret.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes you think about the real cost of staying put if you hate it. But what about success? We're often taught success at work means money, right? Big salary. Did the elders see it that way?
That came up specifically. Marty, 71, he talked about how when he was young, it was all about income. What are you earning? What are you making? More money meant more success. Simple.
Hmm. Yeah, that sounds familiar.
But the elders, looking back, consistently put more weight on the intrinsic value of the work itself. Marty suggested the question should really be, what should I do with my life? What do you want to develop? What do you want to learn?
So shifting the focus from just earning to, growing and finding meaning in the work itself.
Precisely. And Marty had this interesting take. If you focus on doing what you genuinely like, what you're good at, often the money kind of follows. But he said, even if it doesn't make you rich, you're still spending your days doing something you actually enjoy. And that's its own reward, right? Its own kind of wealth.
Yeah.
He mentioned the shoemaker family from his childhood. Not wealthy, but they loved their work, seemed really happy.
That's a great perspective to keep in mind.
Yeah.
What about the sort of practical side? Any nuts and bolts work advice?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Alongside finding meaning, they really stressed working hard, being dedicated. People like Jeremiah, Wanda mentioned this.
Right.
And Wanda, she was 84. Her advice wasn't about becoming a millionaire, but about earning enough to live okay, look after your family, maybe educate your kids, and crucially, save for retirement. Don't chase endless wealth, just make sure you have enough.
So find meaning, work hard, earn enough, save smart. Sounds like a pretty balanced approach.
It does, and this connects directly to another big regret area related to work, not getting education or skills early on.
Missed opportunities.
Exactly. Jeremiah, he was 99, shared a really tough regret. He was a WWII vet, had the GI Bill, could have gone to college.
Wow, amazing opportunity.
Huge. But he chose to buy a car, have a good time, as he put it. And now, nearly 100, broke. He deeply regrets not taking that chance, not prioritizing education, and not saving when he was younger.
Oh, that's a heavy lesson about long-term consequences of short-term choices.
Really is. And Gail, 91, she echoed that feeling. Her advice was super simple: do it now. She regretted waiting too long to learn a skill she wanted.
Just do it.
Yeah, she basically said, young people have the energy, the time, pursue what you want now. Don't wait, because later, age or health might get in the way.
Oh, now, okay. Message received. Let's move from work to relationships. Marriage is a big one for many people. What did the elders in really long marriages learn about making it work, avoiding regrets there?
A really powerful lesson, and maybe simpler than you'd think, came from Natalie, 89. She said it took her a long time to learn to truly listen to her partner.
Listen. Seems basic, but...
Well, she realized her habit was, while her partner was talking, she was already planning her reply. Her rebuttal, maybe, not actually hearing them.
Oh, I think we all do that sometimes. You're just waiting for your turn to talk.
Exactly. And she found that making a real effort to just listen first was critical. It diffused conflicts, built connection. It was huge for them.
Okay, that's a big one. Any specific techniques?
April, she was 70, shared something they did. When they disagreed and got stuck, they'd ask each other, which one of us is this more important to?
Interesting question.
Yeah. She said it often helped one person just let it go. If it clearly mattered way more to the other person, they could step back. It stopped things escalating.
That's smart. It takes the ego out of it a bit.
Yeah.
Focuses on what actually matters in the situation.
It does. And more generally, Verna, 91, she offered this broader advice that applies everywhere. Look for the good in people. Fill your life with love, kindness, thoughtfulness. That's the foundation.
That feels like the bedrock for everything, really. Not just marriage. Okay, let's talk parenting. Another area, huge pressure, lots of potential for looking back and wishing you'd done things differently. What did the elders say?
Their message, basically from raising, thousands of kids between them all, was pretty unified. Let go of the perfect parent, perfect child idea. Just resist that pressure.
Oh, that sounds like a relief just hearing it.
Doesn't it? Gertrude, 76, she was blunt. We were going to have perfect children, and we were going to be perfect parents. It doesn't work that way.
Wow, talk.
Yeah. They all agreed. None of their kids were perfect. Every single one had challenges, difficult times, made mistakes, took wrong turns maybe. The big lesson was, lighten up. Except that it's messy, kids are imperfect humans, parenting is an imperfect journey.
So less about control and perfection, more about acceptance and riding the waves.
Exactly. And Wanda at 84, she had this great insight about what kids actually remember. It's not the fancy stuff, the expensive toys.
Right.
What sticks with them is the time you spend doing things together. Simple things. Picnics, going to the zoo, reading books, baking cookies, singing songs, making stuff. Just being present and connected. That's the gold.
That's lovely. Presence over production value.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about aging itself.
Yeah.
We live in a world obsessed with anti-aging, right? Fighting the clock. What did the elders, the ones actually, aging, say about all that?
Their advice was pretty much unanimous. Forget about it.
Seriously, just forget it.
Yeah. They saw all the focus, the money spent trying to stop aging as, well, mostly pointless. Their wisdom wasn't about fighting it. It was about accepting it and, really importantly, adapting.
Accepting and adapting, how did that look in practice?
Clayton, 81, he put it really well. He said, you kind of grow into it. If you can't be running this fast, well, you just go slower, but you keep on running.
Ah, okay. So you modify, but you keep going.
Exactly. Keep active, keep engaged, but change what you do or how you do it to fit your reality now. Find ways to stay involved, whatever your capacity. Don't just stop because you can't do it like you used to. And yeah, they mostly thought spending a ton on anti-aging creams and stuff was a waste of money.
So the goal isn't not aging, it's living fully while you age. Very different perspective.
Totally different mindset. It's practical acceptance.
Okay, let's try and sort of pull these different threads together.
Yeah.
What are the big overarching principles for living wisely that come out of all this?
Well, Wanda, 84, she really hit on a core truth. It all boils down to choices.
Choices.
Yeah. She stressed how the choices you make, especially the ones that seem small when you're young, can ripple out and have huge consequences down the line. She specifically urged young people to, quote, use your head and go carefully, especially around relationships, intimacy. Those early choices can really set a life course.
Right. Choices matter. They have weight. What about planning? Planning your life out versus just like going with the flow. Is there a tension there?
Definitely attention, yeah. And the elders kind of offered perspectives on both sides, which actually fit together quite well. Wanda, looking back, she regretted just floating merrily along, as she put it. She wondered if having more of a plan might have helped her make a difference more intentionally. So that points towards having some direction, setting priorities, which links back to Jeremiah's regret about not prioritizing education and saving, right?
Okay, so planning gives structure, maybe security, helps you achieve goals.
Yes. But then balancing that, you have this really strong emphasis from others on living in the moment, being present. John McGregor, 70, he really learned this later in his 60s.
Presence. We talked about that with worry.
Exactly. He realized being truly present wasn't just passive. It allowed him to connect more deeply with people. He felt very connected, very grounded, and it's energizing.
And not just people, right? Nature, too.
Absolutely. He talked about walking in the woods, and by really being there, seeing, hearing, smelling, he felt like an integral part of that system, said it was very, very reassuring. And John stressed that being present isn't something you just achieve, it's something you strive toward. It's a process. It doesn't mean ditching planning altogether, but maybe allowing intuition and reason to work together while keeping the future a bit of an open question.
That feels like a really key balance to find, planning for the future, but grounding yourself deeply in the now.
It does seem crucial. And one final point many of them made. Their wisdom isn't locked away. They actually want younger people to ask them for advice. These insights are there for the taking.
That's a great reminder for all of us. Connect with the elders in our own lives. So bringing this all together, less worry, self-acceptance, meaningful work, listening, imperfect parenting, adapting to aging, making choices, being present. How do they ultimately define success? A life well lived.
Verna, 91, she gave what feels like the perfect summary. She said, your real success in life lies is the kind of person you become, not with how famous or wealthy you are.
Ah, there it is again. That internal measure, not the external stuff we chase.
Exactly. It's about living a, quote, wholesome life, making good choices, using your head and your heart, striving to reach that star. And that star, she made clear, isn't fame or money. It's becoming the best version of yourself through love, kindness, thoughtfulness, maybe serving others.
What a fantastic way to distill it all. So we've done this deep dive into the wisdom from hundreds of elders via the Legacy Project, pulling out these hard-won lessons on avoiding regret, building a life that feels meaningful. From ditching the worry habit to accepting yourself, finding joy in work beyond the paycheck, really listening to people, embracing imperfect parenting, adapting as you age, making conscious choices, and balancing that planning with being present.
Yeah.
It's a lot to take in.
And remember, these aren't just nice ideas from a book. These are practical, sometimes tough lessons learned over decades of real living. Our hope with this deep dive was to bring you these insights directly, a glimpse into wisdom that spans nearly a century of life.
Yeah. And as you think about all this, here's maybe a final thought to chew on. There's that interesting tension, isn't there? The need for careful planning education, saving, making deliberate choices like Jeremiah and Wanda Strat,
Right.
versus that equally strong call to live fully right now, shed the worry, connect with the present, like John McGregor and the anti-worry advice highlighted. How do you find that balance in your own life? Preparing for the long haul while actually experiencing the life you're living today. That's definitely something worth thinking about.